It'll be in our archive.
It'll be on my channel, but I'll make a
No,
link
no,
for
no,
it.
Steve. No. So, but you want to put it in our archive library,
I will.
just like all the others.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Steve, there's a problem with this announcement. I think. Yeah. The problem is the bio that you have here is Britton's bio, not Darren's.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So, so the upcoming meeting is Darren, and we need his last name, his other information, and his contact information here too, Steve, so people can contact him.
Okay. This is for Darren.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you got the wrong biography, but also we always with a presenter, you want to give their contact information, their website, so that people can read about them, and also contact them in advance if they want to. So Darren is going to be giving a video presentation, and then the following month, I've asked Tom Blake, the digital archivist of the Boston Public Library, to come and speak. So I'll work on finalizing that, and hopefully he's going to come and talk about the astonishing stuff that's going on at the Boston Public Library with computers. It's pretty amazing.
Okay.
So,
there will be a link. Well, this one will come down, and I'll put the one for June, May, the next month meeting, April, May. So
sure.
This will be coming. Okay, that will be fixed.
So Steve, yeah.
Go ahead, Tom.
Yeah, Steve, you and I can work on the changes Thursday in our WordPress class.
Okay, that's great. I can do that.
Even the time, one time listed as 7 to 8:30, and then the other time on what we're looking at now says 6:30 to 8:30. So, yeah, there's just a few changes, so we need to work on that.
I believe
Thursday.
it's always been, if I'm not mistaken with Adam, and Adam can check me on this, it's always been 6:30 to 8:30, I think, right?
That's right. This time is wrong. It should be starting at 6:30, and also it says AM, which would be a very long meeting indeed.
I'll fix that.
We are dedicated, but we're not that dedicated. So, does anyone have any leads or ideas for the July meeting? Let's also talk about the dates, because July falls around July 4th. Let's take a look at the calendar and see what's going on. Hold on just a second. Okay.
Okay, we've done that.
June. So yeah, the next membership meeting is going to be June 1st at 6:30, and that I hope will be Tom Blake speaking. And then the next membership meeting is going to be in July. The first Tuesday is July 6th. I don't see any reason not to have the meeting then. It's after the holiday weekend. So July 6th will be the 6:30 BNEG meeting.
And Adam, may I say something?
Please.
Yeah, and it's not based on me, but that particular week we are away, and then I always think that week is usually a big vacation week anyway.
That's a really good point. I think we've usually postponed, and I'm usually away that week too. My father's passed away now. It's the first week I've been in town here. So the 13th, we'll make it the 13th at 6:30.
Yes. Yeah.
Which meeting is that?
That's July 13th is going to be the July meeting, and the June meeting is going to be June 1st. So we'll have a nice big gap in between those meetings.
So, okay, so the regular membership meeting for July will be the 13th. Is that right?
July 13th. That's
okay.
Exactly right. Yep. And then I believe, hold on just a second. We'll have our next board meeting on the 25th, so May 25th at 7:30.
25th.
Great.
Okay.
So does anyone have, we're going to have at the May meeting our election, which is going to be pro forma because there has been no opposition to the people who are running, so they will automatically be elected. And all the graft and stuff that we were going to do, which in a contested election, you could do some serious graft. We were not able to do, unfortunately.
Adam, can we maybe open the floor to the nominations from the people that are with us tonight?
No, we're done because we already opened the floor to people for several different meetings, and we need to get on with it. So we're gonna use the officers who are running. They're elected. We can announce it at the next meeting. If anyone objects and they say no, I want to be the chief poobah, we can listen to that. But otherwise, we're going to go ahead with it because it's not a good use of time. We've already asked people. No one's volunteered. And I just think we should move on.
How about Norm or Tom for vice president?
So I feel really strongly we should not have a vice president. I don't think it's a good position because both in the American tradition and in most other traditions, the vice president doesn't have responsibilities except to take over, and I don't think that's a good idea. I just think that if I depart from the scene suddenly, you guys can have an election and replace me. If when I'm not able to be present, people have been really nice about stepping in and helping. And so if we do want to create another position, I think it should have to do with growing a group, either doing more outreach, doing more infrastructure stuff. But I don't think creating a position that doesn't do anything is good for us.
Adam?
Is everyone? Yeah, go ahead.
According to the bylaws of the organization, we are supposed to have 4 officers, and one of them is vice president. So it's not like we're creating a position to fill it. It's according to.
Have we ever had a vice? Like in my.
Yes, we have had a vice president. I've been vice president.
So have we had one recently? Because I haven't been in my tenure in the group. I haven't been conscious of the vice president position.
It has been a while. I'm not saying we have it. We don't have it very often, but it doesn't mean we should not have it. So when Mr. Provost suggests that maybe one of the other people on this list might want to step up to be in the vice president position, that would make sense. According to the bylaw.
Steve, I'm saying it doesn't make sense. So you're making a historical point, which I'm very willing to think about. Let me make the case that instead of having a vice president, if someone wants to volunteer for the group, that they volunteered for a role that had more to do with growing the group or outreach rather than this vice presidential position.
Well, by that token, still, you can have someone who is serving as vice president but also running a committee.
Right.
Of some sort.
I like that idea.
What's the purpose of having a vice president?
To take over the duties of the president if the president is not able to take those duties.
So I guess what I'm saying is, rather than having a person having that role, what I would suggest is that if I'm indisposed because I'm the president right now, that people can get together. We're a group that's able to get together in it would be an emergency. I mean, I would die or something, or be really sick. And in that case, I'd like people to get together just to say a few words about me anyway. So when you get together to say, isn't it terrible what happened when Adam was mowed down by the chicken truck or whatever it is, you could also say, and now we need a new leader, and we're going to turn to whoever. I would much
but at
prefer
that point, we wouldn't have anyone in charge to do that. Sure, the vice president doesn't have much power in the government, unless it's given by the president. However, if there is something that comes up, the vice president will indeed take over.
Better vaporizer.
I understand. I just think that
one at a time, please.
I just think that my own feeling about it is that rather than having this role, which doesn't do anything unless the things are delegated to them, this is a group that really needs to grow. And so I really would prefer to have, if someone really wants to volunteer, I'd like them to have a real job. And so in the event that something bad happens to me, Steve, since you're the treasurer, I think it'd be a very appropriate job for you to gather people together and then appoint a new president, if you're willing to accept that responsibility.
Well, it would have to be the board that does this. And
Yeah, but you would coordinate it. So the board, you'd coordinate a board meeting. Everyone would say a few nice words about me, maybe have a little cake, and then people could nominate people to take over.
yeah, I guess that can work.
And if somebody needs, I second Adam's comments. And my other comment would be, because that's what the bylaws said, and there hasn't been a VP in a long time, even though I'm new to the group, and that seems to have worked out, I would say just because the bylaw says we need a position, in my opinion, change the bylaw then, or go along with what Adam's saying, Steve, I, or somebody else, put a team together to replace Adam, which we hope never happens, but something tells me the short time I've been with this group, something tells me this group will rally nicely and we would go forward. And Adam, I would bring you your favorite cake as well.
I understand that, and I think I've been after for quite a while. I've kind of at some point would just like to take a quick look or brief, be able to see what the bylaws look like, so that I know what bylaws look like, but see what our bylaws look like, so that if I'm doing something within the organization that I don't want to be violating the bylaws of our organization.
Steve, if I ever catch you violating a bylaw, you are in such big trouble. What I'm going to suggest, Steve, is that Steve Eisenberg, do you have the bylaws?
Yes.
So what I suggest is that you give them to Steve Provost and that we add them to the website. They really should be there. So people should be able to read the bylaws.
Yeah.
And okay. I propose that, Steve, what's the procedure for altering the bylaws?
It's defined in the bylaws. I believe that something is proposed and then has to be approved by probably 2/3 of the members present.
Okay.
It hasn't been done yet.
Okay. And are we required by law to have 4 officers, or is it just the bylaws?
The bylaws.
Okay. So I really believe in having rules that actually reflect what we're doing. Right now we have a president, a treasurer, a communications manager, Steve, a outreach coordinator, Tom. So what I propose, and a secretary, Sharif. So I'm going to propose that we alter the bylaws to make them up to date, to have those positions, and then if we want to add additional positions, we can do that. Are people okay with that?
Yes.
Are there any objections? Any objections?
No.
Okay. So it's so ordered. So for changing the actual writing of the bylaws, what I'm going to suggest is that, Stan?
Yeah.
This is your expertise, writing regulations and understanding them. If I could delegate to you this task, if Steve Eisenberg could send Stan a copy of the bylaws.
Yeah.
Stan, if you could alter them so that these offices that we actually have are the offices in the bylaws, and propose it as a draft, and then we can vote on it at the next board meeting.
That sounds good.
Excellent. Okay. So let's see. Are there any other, does anyone have any other leads or ideas about speakers for BNUG over the next couple of months?
I still would like to look into someone from the Boston Amateur Radio Club. See what we have available there, because we've got a very big wealth of knowledge.
I'd love that, Steve. Steve, reach out and
I have been.
See
And
did you reach out by radio?
No.
Well, come on. Reach out by radio. They're going to listen to you then.
Our next general meeting is, I think, I have to look it up anyways, but I know when our next meeting comes up, I can announce it or make mention it to the club itself. See if there's anybody interested. Right. If not, I can always call down to the league down in Newton, Connecticut, and see if there's anybody down there.
Yeah, go ahead and do that. Any other leads or ideas that people have?
Steve.
Which one?
Okay, there's a group which meets, I think, once a month. in Natick for the amateur radio. Maybe you can contact them. I'll have some mail because I do get soliciting mail on it, and I'll forward it to you. There's a group like we have, like a BINA. They
Yeah.
meet once a month in Natick,
Yeah.
Massachusetts. So
Okay. Is that the Natick Amateur Radio Club?
yes.
Okay, we're probably aware of it.
Okay.
All right.
Harvard has one too.
Stan, what did you say?
Harvard has an amateur
Yeah.
radio. They, in cooperation with MIT, put on the, oh Christ, what is it?
The flea market? Do they put that in the flea market?
Yeah, they run the flea market. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Terrific.
I'm aware of the flea market. I just actually we had one of the guys on this afternoon from the who's a
Steve, I'm just
professor
going to ask
there.
you to stop. Hold on for a bit. So thank you. Please look into it more. That would be excellent.
Okay.
Does anyone have any other? Go ahead, Steve Eisenberg.
Yeah, something entirely different to this. In the chat, I've put the link to the documents for the BNUC.
Oh, excellent. Okay, terrific. Thank you. So if people want to look at that, make suggestions to Stan about wording. Does anyone, and kind of along these lines, does anyone have any BNUC development suggestions? Suggestions about improving the group, changing it, changing the wallpaper, like any suggestions for us? One idea I want to ask about is whether anyone would like to volunteer to reach out to some other computer networking groups. There are a lot of them in town, and I think it would be really worthwhile to reach out to one, like a partner group, and say, do you want to come and give a talk about your group and what you've accomplished? And we can create better relations with the other users groups in town. Would anyone be interested in doing that?
Do we have contact information for them?
Almost all the groups are listed on a particular website. Does anyone know what it's like? Is it the BossUG website that does it?
We also have a link on our own website for other groups, so that might be an option.
Well, tell me where that is, Steve. I'm on the website. Where should I go?
Right now, I can't see it.
It's shared. It's shared. Can you see it?
I'm just looking. I know I put it up there. You have to see if you
other
can find
Boston area groups.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah, that might be it.
Yeah, there's actually a lot more.
The meetup, and the meetups, you can get it.
I think BossUG. Oh no, we've got a problem. Some of these links, Steve, you're going to need to look at.
Yeah, I had them. I checked them out not too long ago. As of
the second one doesn't work right.
Okay.
Okay, this is a very famous one. BossUG is an old group. It's been around for a long time. Look at all the meetup members they have, although they don't know their email addresses. But it might be fun to reach out to them and perhaps do a joint meeting. But there are lots of other ones. I'd be particularly interested in a meeting of a group that does something unusual that we haven't studied yet. For example, I wonder if there's a Perl Boston group. I think people would find it really interesting. Yeah, there's a Perl Mongers meetup here. 320 members. I'm assuming that this has to do with Perl. Yeah, command line. So they have presentations. It looks like they're doing Zoom meetings. So it would be really nice to reach out to organizations like this, depending on what your interests are, because I think it would be really. I know that a lot of people in this group are interested in programming, and so a meeting on that would be great.
I'll take a stab. I'll take a stab.
You want to do it, Norm?
Sure.
Fabulous. Yeah. Okay, so Norm will do some reaching out to these groups. And would anyone like to reach out, do a corporate reach out? Would anyone like to reach out to some, and there you don't have to be restricted by geography at all. Do you want to reach out to some companies that make something interesting that we use? I know that we had somebody come a while back and talk about Ubiquity. I want to say that a number of my colleagues are going nuts about Ubiquity. They're just using them all the time. Ubiquity is the new wireless mesh system that's quite inexpensive, and so it's become really popular. Would anyone be interested in reaching out to Ubiquity and seeing if they want to come and talk with us?
Sure, I don't mind reaching out.
Tom's got it. Tom's got it. Hey, Drew, do you have a technology or company you would like to learn about that you'd like to reach out to?
I can't read your lips, Drew.
No new taxes. He's saying no new taxes.
I have some information for you, Adam, when you're ready for it.
Okay, thanks. Drew, can you hear us?
Unmute yourself there.
And yes.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
One thing that I can do, if you're interested, is put into the chat the Sarasota Technology Users Group and see if you want to. They do Zoom meetings on a monthly basis also.
Do you want to? Do you know them, Drew? Do you know anyone in the group?
I just found out about it, and so I haven't contacted them yet.
Why don't you check them out and see if they're really quality? And if they are, you could reach out to them and see if they wanted to collaborate with us.
Yeah, they have, the same thing we have. You click on the thing called meetings, and it shows you monthly what the topic is, and it's all being done through Zoom.
Yeah, I guess what I'm going to suggest is that you attend one of their meetings and see if you like them. And then if you do, some groups don't do it very well. And so check them out and see if you'd recommend them, and then you could reach out to them.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Excellent. Is there anyone? Is there anyone who would like to reach out? Did I already have some? Tom, you're reaching out to a Ubiquity company. Is that?
Yes, I said I would do that.
Yeah.
I think one of my clients may have recently installed one of their Wi-Fi units, and my understanding it's working fairly well and very inexpensive and covered a large area of their space.
Yeah, I'd like to learn more about it. Steve Eisenberg, you wanted to add something?
Yes, I did a quick look through the bylaws, and there is not a requirement for a vice president.
Good.
The officers are president, treasurer, and clerk.
Wow.
Clerk. So Sharif,
And
you're actually
it does talk
a clerk.
about vice presidents if there are any. So it's not a requirement.
So I really like the idea of the clerk being called secretary. There's something charming about it. So the officers that we actually have, Stan, are, you got it, president, communication coordinator, outreach coordinator, secretary, treasurer.
Go through that list again.
Yeah, I will. So the in order of augustness, there's secretary and outreach coordinator, which is Tom. So secretary is Sharif, outreach coordinator is Tom, communication coordinator, who's Steve Provost, treasurer, Steve Eisenberg, and president, Adam, me.
Those are actually listed on the website. Or BNUG.
Yep, good. And as for people who are late, we're confirming the election. There hasn't been any opposition, so we'll just announce the results in May at the May meeting.
Also,
go ahead, Steve.
I just want to remind everybody that this meeting is being recorded.
Thank you. Yeah, and streamed. It looks like you're live streaming us.
Yep.
That's most interesting. It's going to be really popular to parliamentarians.
Well, what I'd like to do from now, if it's possible, especially our normal monthly meetings, membership meetings, I really think we should start looking at streaming those particular meetings, because I think that with this group we have a very wealth of speakers that come through, and a lot of them have a lot of great stuff that I'm sure a lot of people out on the internet would love to hear about. So I'd like to start and put a thing up on the saying that we're going to be streaming the monthly meetings.
I guess one of my questions, Steve, is why would someone want to watch a stream rather than participate in the Zoom meeting?
I mean, people could still, be part of the this meeting, but also, if for those who maybe, if we're going through a particular meeting and maybe something was said during the meeting and somebody missed it and said, "Oh,
No,
wait a minute."
no, Steve,
They can review
Steve,
it.
I understand what you're saying about recording. I'm in favor of recording, and I think everyone has agreed that we'll do that. What I don't understand is what's the advantage of live streaming?
It's just the way it is.
No, but I'm really asking an important question, Steve, because if we're on Zoom, people will come to the Zoom meeting, and I want that because this is an interactive meeting. We're a group of people. We're not a show. So if we do live streaming, we'll have people watching the meeting who can't participate, and we can't see them either.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I want that. So I for one am opposed to live streaming, but in favor of recording so that people who can't come to the meeting can watch it later.
Well, the other part,
other people have comments about that.
the other part of the issue, the other part of the thing is that the Zoom, for some reason, I don't know why, it will only allow 100 participants. And after, I've noticed that for one other meeting.
Yeah, that's part of our Zoom account. So, Steve, if we get to a point where we're getting to our limit, our Zoom limit, we start having 90 people at our meeting, you could make a case, although I think if we had that many participants, we could just buy a larger Zoom license. But we're not anywhere near that number.
No.
So, again, is there any, just to open the floor to everybody, is anyone in favor of doing live streaming of these meetings besides Steve Provost?
I don't see the need for it. You're either going to be on the meeting or watching it later.
I'll say, yeah, I don't understand that.
Ask a question.
Yes.
When you're live streaming on YouTube, is that like you watch it only, as opposed to in Zoom you can be participating? Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, that's my
When you're
understanding.
live streaming, you can actually put it on Facebook, you can put it on YouTube, you can put it everywhere. And
Yeah.
Okay, but does that mean that it's a one-way thing? It's like watching a movie on TV, you can't comment, as opposed to in Zoom.
Yeah. It's
that
really
right?
stupid, actually. People can watch you on Facebook. They can comment on Facebook to each other.
Yeah.
But it's like the whole damn world can see your business.
Yeah, it really means that. It really means a loosening up of the meeting in a way that I don't think I like. I really don't like the idea of not knowing. I mean, I don't mind people watching a recording. We also have control over the recording. If somebody says something in the recording that's indiscreet, we don't post. So, Steve, one thing I want to emphasize about these recordings, and the reason why I think we need to really think about our policy here. I don't want you to take these meetings and put them up on YouTube.
Adam, you nailed it.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, the good thing about it is,
hold on. Let me finish. Let me finish, Steve.
Okay.
We have a long-standing policy in this group that any recordings that are done are edited and checked, and the people who are in the meeting have the right to say, "Oh my God, I told people what my least favorite food is, and it's going to offend my Aunt Millie because she makes this food for me every week." So it's really important. We had a guy here who committed a felony, and he announced it at one of our meetings. He was very proud of it. He committed a felony in order to protect the daughter of one of his clients who was being harassed, and so he used his special computer skills to violate federal law to get into a computer so he could protect her. And he's very proud of it, and he'd do it again 1,000 times. But it was a felony, and we really don't want to record it. So I think what we need to do. So Steve, for example, this meeting right now is live on YouTube. I'd like you to not do that. So I'd like you to turn that off. And we need a way of recording the meeting as a local recording on your computer, and then. Or actually, I'm happy to be the recorder if people would like, because I know how to do this. What we can do is we can record the meeting. So, Steve, go ahead and turn off the YouTube recording.